Hello, welcome to Co-Design Work with Wonder. I'm June Baya, CEO of BayhaGroup, and today we have a special guest that's going to be focused on our deep dive. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about BayhaGroup. So at BayhaGroup, we co-design work with Wonder, which is with youth, for youth. And currently we have 11 paid high school interns and 2 college interns working with us to co-design all of the programs that we provide. So what we're really excited about is this summer we will be doing another virtual internship. And last summer, one key component of our virtual internship was something we called a deep dive. And so one of our deep dives was focused on investing. And I'm very excited to share that I'm very fortunate. I have been married to this person for almost 25 years, and he's going to share with us. And let's see. So Harlan's going to join us and talk about investing and working with teens over the summer, last summer, and what he has planned for this summer. So Harlan, hi.
Hi, June. Hi, everybody. Appreciate you having me on. It's been an honor to work with the team at Work Wonder. So love being able to share what we were doing last year.
Yes, and also what you have planned this year. And so before we get started, I wanted to share something that we put together to talk about what we did last summer. And it's a short video that some of our co-designer interns put together. And I wanted to share that. It is, whoa, let's see, sorry, my just finished, let's see, here we go. That is not the right video. That is not the deep dive video. No wonder. So hold on, we'll just bring Angela on board and have her share with us what some of the experience was. And so we have our co-designer intern who worked with Harlan last summer as an intern and is currently our co-designer intern. So Angela, welcome.
Hi guys. Hi June. Thank you for having me on your show again for the 5th time or something. So excited.
You're a pro at this live streaming and you help run it also.
Yes, I do.
Welcome, Angela. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're currently doing, and then we'll jump into sort of your experience in what we call the finance group, but it was really focused on investing.
Yes. So my name is Angela Day, and I'm currently a senior at Warren High School, and I'm also a co-designer intern at BayhaGroup. I helped June with several projects, and I'm so glad to be here to talk about my experience last summer in the finance department.
Awesome. And so Harlan, yeah.
Just ask me questions, and I'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Well, so Harlan, tell us a little bit about what your vision for what you wanted the interns to take away with working with you last summer, especially because investing is definitely something that is near and dear to your heart. And so if you could share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, like you say, I love investing. I don't know why necessarily. It's one of those things that I started taking a liking to almost 20 years ago. As I started investing for my retirement, and I've been researching and just sort of enjoying the whole trip of being an investor and building an investment portfolio and kind of being part of investing communities on the internet, and now being part of an investing community here that we got to build as part of Work Wonder, right? So part of the reason why I wanted to do this was that I wanted to share what I enjoyed with other people. And I also felt like it was valuable for every party involved, right? It's valuable for BayhaGroup. We get investing ideas. I get ideas to write a book. It's valuable for the people who are participating because they get ideas about how they can manage budgets, how they can assess finances. It demystifies investing, I hope. I don't know. Angela, do you feel like it demystified the process of investing for you?
Yes, definitely, because I thought investing was such like a complicated thing, and you're always if you're not careful, you might lose a lot of money. But after you demystified it, it was really clear to me, and I feel like I know more about investing than an average adult, hopefully.
Yeah, which brings up a good point. I just wanted to say this before we get too deep into this. We're not here to give anybody personal investing advice today. We're going to talk about our own experiences with what we did. And if we do happen to mention any companies or funds, those aren't recommendations for you to buy or sell or anything like that. It's just like things about our own experience. We're actually going to try to avoid talking about individual companies. And then like Angela said, investments can lose value, right? So go out there if you're going to go and invest, get credible advice from credible people, make your own decisions, right? Be a participant in your own investing. I highly recommend that you don't hand off your investing decisions to other people unless you trust them very, very, very much. June, I think you're on mute. You're still on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
It's because I can hear Harlan. He's in the house. And so,
yeah.
Anyways, so I wanted you to maybe share more about your approach and how you talked about investing with teens, with our summer interns this summer, and then, yeah, to make it not so boring.
Yeah. So that was one of my main concerns, right? Going into it, I was worried that, first of all, I was worried that no one would want to join the team. And then you said, well, we're just going to give you 28 people, regardless of whether they want to join the team, right?
That's not true. They wanted to join. That was in their top 5 choices. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it was in their top 5 choices. All right.
Yes.
That's good. There were only 5 choices though, right?
Yeah. That was my number one choice.
Choices.
Okay. All right. Was it really your number one choice, Angela?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Because I was going to go into finance, so I wanted to get some experience.
Yeah, well, I will talk about that a little bit later, I think. Hold that thought. So the thing I wanted to do was to kind of bring investing home. And this was how I started investing. Early on, I started realizing that the things around me were built by companies that I could invest in. And this concept wasn't something that like actually came together for me at any point until I was an adult, really, right? And I that was kind of one of my regrets kind of growing up, because as we were, yeah, we're totally twinning. We've got our little turtlenecks going. As I was growing up, I saw things around me in my environment, toys, activities that I could do, places I could go, hotels, like movies and stuff like that. And I never put together that these things were made by companies and I could own a little piece of that company, right? There's a magic to that, kind of owning a piece of something you love. And I wanted to take that aspect of fandom and connect it for all those folks, right? Just like it was connected for me. And Angela, you actually came up with your investment recommendation was a company that that's in personal care industry, right?
Yes, cosmetics.
Cosmetics and personal care, right? And I was like, that was one of those things where it's like it was something that was cool to you. And how was that experience for you when you actually like realized that you could bring that into what we were doing?
Okay, so it's because you told us to pick any objects in our house to, look at the company name and like do research about that company. And I looked around and I have a bunch of skincare products and makeup sitting around in my room. So I thought, wait a minute, let me see if I can make something out of this. So I searched up their parent brand and it's that brand. So I was like, wait, I like skincare, I like makeup. So maybe this can be something that I'll do for my project because it'll be fun. So that's how I picked my company to invest in.
That's cool. And frankly, that's how I pick a lot of the companies that I invest in as well, Like, it's a, I feel like if I'm invested in that company, I'm willing to hand them my hard-earned cash, right? If I'm willing to, give those things to people as gifts, if I'm willing to give, if I'm willing to subscribe to them, right? Especially if I'm willing to subscribe to them, I feel like that's something that I want to invest in. Because if I'm not willing to subscribe to it, I'm like, well, especially unless it's like a business to business kind of thing, which is a little bit different. But if I'm willing to subscribe to them and give them money every month, why wouldn't I want to own a little bit of that and get a little bit back?
I know, right? That was kind of like my mindset because I always buy their products. So I was like, why not?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's how, and your question was kind of about how we connect this to people. That's not just the only thing though. It's that we also were talking about things that people really wanted to learn about. And in some ways I was worried about going down these roads. Like, to some extent we started talking about budgeting, and we definitely started talking about compound interest and compound returns. If you're not familiar with those terms, join the internship. We'll go into more depth in there. I wanted to blow some people's minds, so I have some really cool demonstrations of how compound interest builds up over time and how it interplays with returns in your portfolio, right? So if you can get a decent portfolio going, those compound interest rates on your loans can actually get balanced out. It just depends on how you've planned out your finances. Do you want to have a mortgage? If you're running a business, do you need lending for your business? Things like that. And I wanted to equate these things in personal finance to business finance. So I don't really see that there's a huge amount of difference between personal and business finance. There are some additional weird complexities when you start getting into banking and stuff like that. But for most companies, they have assets, they have money, and they have stuff that they own. They have maybe property, and then they have products that they sell and income that they take in, and maybe they have some loans. Like, it's not that different than a normal family. The product that we sell is our labor, typically, most of us, and then we get paychecks, right? They sell products and they get money back from consumers. The difference is very, very shallow once you sort of peel away all the fancy words that go into it. So, and I feel like through talking about one, you learn about both. I hope that was accomplished, Angela. Did you feel like you learned something both about personal and business finance when we were working?
Yeah, for sure. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket and start investing early, and that savings account won't give you that much money. So, and it was interesting to see the graphs that you showed us, like how fast the graph went up, the compound interest,
Yeah.
Really cool.
And then what about when you looked at companies? So Angela, when you looked at the cosmetic company, what did you actually look at and look for to see if you wanted to add it as your recommendation? Like, what was the criteria?
So definitely their past performances and their trend, and if their company's performance or culture fits our social culture. So I picked a cosmetic company because I feel like more people are starting to have awareness about skincare due to like social media and like all those makeup tutorials, skincare tutorials, and especially we're on Zoom meetings. So I feel like people are more conscious to, buy makeup and put them on for those meetings. And that's why I picked that company. And I feel like skincare and makeup kind of never die. Like skincare and makeup, they're not just for females, they're for all genders as well. So I feel like it's a really hot, popular industry. So.
And then.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, go ahead.
That was part of what I liked about having interns that are so young. I think some people think that they need to have broad arrays of experience to be able to invest. They have to, know business, go to business school or stuff like that. And I don't mean to say that those people are boring. But when you think about what trends are, The exciting trends, like some 48-year-old guy like me, I don't know. I'm not going to be on the internet like checking out like makeup tutorials. Like this is a whole world that is really foreign to me. I mean, I know they exist. I see them occasionally drop through the YouTube feed. I'm like, yeah, no. But Angela makes an astoundingly good point, right? So these trends that she sees, she can bring to my attention. Right. And this is why it's good to have an investing team. This is why it's good to have a diverse investing team. And this is also why it's good to have a young investing team. Older investors, they have a lot of experience. They can maybe share some of their experience from the past. But me knowing about a telecommunications company getting broken up in the 80s, that's not particularly useful for figuring out what's going to happen in 2030.
Oh, we have a question here.
Oh, cool. Helene.
Yeah. What would you recommend to young first-time investors to start out with, and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I would start out playing fantasy games. And I would also start out by choosing some companies that match your personality, things that you play with, things that you use on a daily basis, things that you subscribe to, things that you buy, right? Because you know those companies a little bit better than the average person, right? So, and you probably know those because you're a customer. You probably know that customer, you probably know that company better than an investment analyst who just covers it. So this investment analyst who spent $300,000 to go to business school, maybe they don't buy cosmetics from Angela's favorite cosmetics company. Maybe they don't, right? But they cover it because their boss said, you got to cover that company. And they go on the investing calls and they're like, so how are your finances in last quarter? What is your rate of return on your investment? Okay, thank you very much. And then they build up their little analysis system and they're like, well, these are what the numbers are telling us. You understand these companies way better than those folks. You have an idea of what the future looks like for them, whether or not other folks who are in your age range also enjoy those things, right? Maybe you go to conventions. Like June and I love to go to Comic-Con, and we drag our kids and we go there with friends, and it's a whole big deal. We should write that off. We probably will write that off this year because it is a huge insight into what people care about, right? So find those things that you care about, build yourself a fantasy portfolio, track it, see what's going on, play with it. Fantasy portfolio is free. You can build them on a lot of different websites, or just throw together a Excel spreadsheet. Look at some stocks, go to Google, type in a stock, look at what the price is today, say, I'm going to pretend to buy this. Write it down, give yourself 1,000 quote unquote dollars, right? And buy it. And then do that. Play the game for a year, maybe 2, before you really dig into actually buying these things. There's another method where you might start up an investment portfolio once you're old enough to do so, or maybe if you're working with your parents, if you're going to do a joint account kind of thing, and just buy a couple of bucks of something, $5, $10. You can do this because you can buy partial shares now. So you can build a portfolio with 20 stocks for $20, which is fantastic. I couldn't do that when we were starting, right? So you can build a $20 portfolio, and it's a well-diversified 20 stock portfolio. Ta-da, you're done. And the risk there is really minimal if all you're doing is just buying them, right? So even if all those companies go bankrupt, you lost $20. It's not horrible, right? But you'll learn a lot from it. So I would say start with something very low stress. You don't want to stress yourself out doing this. It should be fun. I really believe that this should be fun for folks.
Okay, we have another question. Are there any changes that you're going to make to the deep dive this year?
I'm looking at a number of things. Yeah. And I'm actually working with Juan, who couldn't be here right now. And we've been talking about some of the things that worked well and some of the things that didn't work as well last time. One of the things that people definitely wanted last time, but we didn't have any because it was the first round. We didn't have any examples, and I didn't want to like write an example of my own as an adult old analyst kind of person. Yeah. And so Angela, like, what was your experience kind of building these things without examples? Because we, our work product, we had to build a pitch, which we wrote. It was like a page and a half kind of thing, explaining why we wanted to buy a particular company, or choose a particular company. We had to do a video where we pitched it in a group setting. There were trios of people. Yeah. And then at the end, we actually, as a group, took all of the recommendations, we paired them down, and we made a portfolio of the ones that the team wanted from the recommendation set that we had. Now I'm blanking on what that question was. What was that question again?
Oh, it was that, what changes are you going to make to the deep dive this year?
So we didn't have examples of any of those things. So Angela, what was your experience going through it without any examples?
It was just really, well, like we didn't know what to do, but luckily you were giving us guidance, and you told us to write a draft. And we didn't really know what to write at first, but we just kind of put everything on there. You put guiding questions on the document, and we were able to follow the guiding questions and put our analysis on there. And you gave us a lot of feedback. And to the upcoming interns, I want you guys to know that Harlen kind of gives a lot of criticisms, but they're constructive criticisms. And yeah, those really helped. But I did hear from my group that it was kind of like, oh my God, he gave us so much criticisms, but they really did help in the end. And I was so glad that I was able to revise my whole investment analysis document, and it turned out to be kind of perfect. And for the video, it was fun as well because I got to work with my group. And I want you guys to know that this is a team effort. It's really not boring. There's a lot of communication and collaboration in finance. And that was really fun for me because I had to constantly, tell my teammate, hey, what do you think of this? Does this make sense? And so. I feel like, yeah, that's what made the whole finance experience really fun. And I had a lot of fun doing the pitch and all that stuff. The filming was the funnest part.
Oh yeah. The results of the filming actually were excellent. I had a lot of fun watching them all. One of the other things that I noticed when we did the initial write-ups, and we kind of started with the write-ups for a reason. I wanted people to kind of frame their ideas. But at first, people like literally answered my questions. They like wrote my questions as their titles, and they like I really wanted them to get creative, and I felt like everyone was sort of like in their little shell. And I was like, no, you're gonna peel it back.
Yeah.
You gotta peel it back, and you gotta actually like give me like the things you care about, and funny titles, and we can make this fun for folks, and I want you to have fun while doing these activities, because you're never going to convince somebody in business to do your thing if you come in and you're boring. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you can, and it goes for any job. If you walk into a room and your pitch for a marketing campaign or an electrical system that you're going to build or whatever, if you come in and you have no energy behind it, you're not going to be received well, and you'll be lucky to have anybody really understand what you're trying to get at, even if you really care about it, right? You have to find a way to convey that. If it's difficult for you, then it's something you need to work on. Like, I am an introvert. You would not know it from my public conversations, and you would not know it from me standing in front of groups. I have sung in front of 500 people and danced with a backup crew behind me, a ridiculous song that I made up. you would not know that I am very introverted. Like I don't like talking to people all the time. I'm not going to go out to parties, go out to bars and stuff like that. It's just not me. But you have to find these places where you can engage people. And to do that, you have to build that capacity within yourself. If it drains you, it drains you. But there are ways to kind of get around that. You can write, right? Like those pitches. Maybe that's the best way you do it, right? Maybe you write an engaging pitch. I wanted to give people an array of experiences so that they could take those away and go, I did this and I did that. And this is what I learned I liked. This is what I learned I didn't like. This is where I shone. This is where I didn't do so well. Maybe I want to improve these things. Maybe I want to improve where I shine, right? And all that's important to take away as an intern. And the other thing I wanted people to do, sort of a side topic, and because I know we're coming up toward the end of our time, I wanted to loop back to this. I want people to know whether or not finance is right for them as a career. And this is not, now, there are all different kinds of finance careers. I work with a lot of folks in finance who just, they're spreadsheet folks, and they do a lot of planning and analysis and like working with details of a business. That's not exactly what we were doing so much. That's more internal work. We're doing more like financial analysis that Wall Street folks would do, or people in the media might do about companies. But they're all kind of interrelated. But Angela, it was your initial thought that you wanted to be in finance, and what happened with that? Did you decide to go to school doing that?
Yeah, of course, because finance is kind of just what my whole family did. My grandma did it, my dad kind of did it, and my sister's doing it as a career. So I didn't really know what my interest was. So I was like, okay, might as well just, take on to the family tradition and study finance. So so luckily I had this summer internship to try it out. And it turns out that it wasn't boring per se. I had so much fun. Disclaimer, I did not find it boring at all. But it's just that I was able to have this experience to compare it to something else that I find more interesting, which is computer science. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
I had the experience to compare it to something else. So I think that was really important for me. So the upcoming interns, you might find finance the thing for you or not, but I just think you have to really try it out and have fun and give it your all.
That's really interesting, Angela, because I started out doing information technology stuff. I was an analyst. I was a marketing analyst, which involved doing a lot of spreadsheets and database analysis. And then I got into programming databases, programming websites, and finally ended my career as a programmer, as a C# programmer and a lead application developer at a financial institution, right? So just because you like a particular kind of work doesn't necessarily define what industry you're going to be in. So for example, like if you like theme parks, you don't have to be in like theme park management necessarily. Maybe you could be an architect, right? Maybe you could build roller coasters. Maybe you could build attractions. Maybe you're an artist, right? So there's, and in finance, there are actually like occasionally, I would try to explain this to people, but a lot of financial companies have tons and tons of different types of work, like all kinds of different things that you would not initially think of. I'm not going to go into the details on that, but basically like every company, once it gets to a certain size, has this sort of city of folks, application developers, analysts, managers, marketing people, like they're everywhere. And so you can move around to the things that you appreciate and you like, and you can do different kinds of work. So Angela, like the fact that you found a thing that you're hooked onto as an interest, that's awesome. I love that we did that. And I love that you got a chance to kind of experience the other side of the fence a little bit and kind of go, no, maybe not for me right now.
That's cool. Not right now, but yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, we are running up on our end of time, and I did want to share. So those of you who want to get in touch with Angela, her LinkedIn profile, and also with Harlen, He's also on LinkedIn. And for next week, we are going to do another grant getting segment. So Kelly Cooper will be back with me, and we're going to be talking about when we're working on grants, the first thing we do, which is to start with budgets. So that's next week, next Thursday at 3 p.m. So, and I also wanted to share that the video I was trying to share earlier is actually available on it's available on the chat. And so actually, I'm going to share it because it's so cool that Angela put it together. Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah,
share
I
it.
really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
And I have it. And so we're going to do it. So give me a second. There we go.
No, it wasn't the typical finance stuff that Angela, Oscar, and Kevin do from the office. I didn't do boring stuff like commercial banking, investment banking, money managing. Yesterday, I finished my research on my company, and hopefully today I'll get to my rough draft for my investment recommendation list, and no blockers so far. Personally, I looked forward to these daily scrums every day. Daily scrums are basically stand-up meetings that clarify goals and priorities and to discuss any potential roadblocks. These meetings gave a sense of professionalism, and I absolutely love the mixture of casualness and professionalism at the department. Those small conversations gave me a clear vision of my tasks when it came to our big assignment, Investment Recommendation Report. Basically why the buyers should buy that company's stock share. We learned some pretty amazing real-world skills in there. Someone said that she could even start helping her mom with investment stuff because of the knowledge she gained. In the grander scheme of things, this department is to make you rich and become a millionaire one day. Okay, just kidding. The Work Wonder finance experience makes you smarter about your money choices while also growing your collaboration, writing, creativity, and communication skills, which are all crucial to any jobs. And Harlen, our amazing boss, did a great job at training us finance interns.
Because I love finance.
The most important thing to mention is that this was all done virtually.
Awesome. I had to share it because it's so cool. Angela, right on.
Yay!
Nice job,
Thank you for
Angela.
having me. Thanks.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Harlan. Thanks, Angela. And we'll see everybody next week. Thank you.
Thank you.